Anthropic just released Claude Sonnet 5, and enterprise customers are already running the numbers. They are looking at their monthly AI bills, which, for a large company, can hit millions of dollars, and doing the math. What if we could cut that by 40% without losing an ounce of quality? That's the promise Anthropic is making with Sonnet 5. It's not a flashy new model with incredible new powers. It's something more practical, more dangerous to competitors. It's built specifically to crush the expensive grunt work that keeps enterprise engineers awake at night. We are talking about document analysis, code review, data extraction, content moderation, the tasks that run up your bill because they are tedious but important, so you need to run them constantly. Sonnet 5 does all of that faster and more accurately than its predecessor, which means fewer API calls, which means a dramatically lower bill for enterprise customers. That's the kind of news that makes a CEO smile. Anthropic has spent 2 years positioning Claude as the premium choice for serious work, and now they are proving it's also the cheaper choice when you count total cost of ownership. But here's what the headlines won't tell you. This isn't just about saving money. It's about what Sonnet 5 means for the entire AI market and the pricing war that's about to get real. Anthropic released Sonnet 4.5 just 6 months ago. At the time, it was the best model for the job, balancing speed, accuracy, and cost in a way that beat OpenAI's GPT-4o for most practical use cases. Enterprises started swapping out older models and consolidating their AI infrastructure around Claude. It became the boring, reliable choice, the kind of model you deploy and forget about. But boring doesn't win in AI, innovation does. OpenAI pushes out updates constantly, and so does Google with Gemini. If Anthropic sat still, they'd lose their edge. That's the market pressure every AI company faces right now. You can't rest on yesterday's benchmark scores. So Anthropic spent 6 months fine-tuning Sonnet 5, and they didn't leak a single benchmark before release. No whispers, no Reddit speculation, no leaked internal documents. That's unusual in AI. Normally these announcements build momentum months in advance. The fact that Sonnet 5 arrived as a surprise tells you something. Anthropic was confident the results would speak for themselves, and they did. The new model isn't just faster and cheaper than Sonnet 4.5. It's genuinely better at the specific work that costs enterprises the most money. This is where the story gets interesting. So what's actually different about Sonnet 5? Anthropic could have just made it faster, thrown more compute at it, made the inference pipeline leaner, shipped it in 3 months. Instead, they retrained it. That's the expensive path. They took feedback from thousands of enterprise customers, the companies using Claude every single day in production, and rebuilt the model from the ground up. The focus: tasks that generate revenue or save costs. Document analysis is a big one. Enterprises process tens of thousands of documents daily: contracts, invoices, insurance claims, medical records. Each one gets run through Claude to extract key facts, flag risks, categorize it. With Sonnet 4.5, that was accurate but slow. Sonnet 5 does it 40% faster. That directly translates to fewer API calls, lower latency, happier customers. Code review is another one. GitHub Copilot uses models for that. But so do internal compliance teams reviewing third-party code before they use it. Sonnet 5 catches more bugs, fewer false positives, and does it in less time. Content moderation at scale is the third pillar. Platforms use Claude to review user-generated content for policy violations. Speed matters when you have millions of posts queued. Sonnet 5 handles that volume better. This is deliberate engineering, not new, flashy features. Just relentless optimization on the tasks that hurt the most. And here's where the advantage becomes clear. Let's put numbers on this. A financial services company processes 50,000 loan applications a month. Each one requires document extraction, pulling income, debt, credit score, employment history from PDFs and images. With Sonnet 4.5 running on their infrastructure, that's roughly 50,000 API calls every month at standard pricing. That costs about $15,000. Sonnet 5 does the same work in 40% fewer calls. Suddenly that's $9,000 a month. Multiply that across 12 months and one compliance workflow, $72,000 saved every year on one task. A mid-sized tech company has a contract review process. 50 new vendor agreements arrive every week. A lawyer used to read them. Now Claude reads them first, flags red flags, highlights liability clauses. Sonnet 4.5 was good enough that it paid for itself immediately. Sonnet 5 is so much faster that the company can do it on more contracts, catch edge cases the old system missed, and cut costs again. A SaaS platform moderates user comments. They run 100,000 comments a day through Claude to catch spam, harassment, misinformation. With Sonnet 4.5 that took hours, Sonnet 5 does it in minutes. Same accuracy, massive speed boost. These aren't hypotheticals. Anthropic ran these tests with real enterprise customers. The results are public. That kind of transparency is rare in AI. How does Sonnet 5 stack up against competitors? OpenAI's GPT-4o is fast and smart, but it costs more per token. For enterprise use cases, the high-volume, repetitive tasks we've been talking about, that extra cost adds up. If you're running 1 million API calls a month, a 20% price difference is massive. Google's Gemini 2.0 is newer and flashy, but it's still finding its feet in production. Most enterprises aren't betting their infrastructure on it yet. That's the advantage Anthropic has right now. They've been the boring, reliable choice for 2 years. That trust is hard to build. Sonnet 5 doesn't break that trust, it deepens it. There's no new feature that breaks existing workflows, no weird edge cases you have to work around. It's the same API, the same model family, just better. That's why enterprises are excited. The comparison that matters isn't Sonnet 5 versus GPT-4o in a benchmark. It's Sonnet 5 versus Sonnet 4.5 in your existing production systems. Will you get better results? Yes. Will you spend less? Also yes. That combination is rare. Usually you trade off, better models cost more. Anthropic is claiming they've broken that trade-off for this specific set of workloads. And here's the part that's going to surprise you. What does Sonnet 5 mean for the AI market? First, it's a statement from Anthropic. They are saying we're not just competitive, we're more profitable for enterprise customers. That's the claim that matters. Open source models like Llama can run on your own infrastructure, but they are less capable. Paid models like GPT-4o are capable but expensive. Claude Sonnet 5 sits in the middle, capable enough and cheap enough that most enterprises just use it. Second, it's going to put pressure on pricing across the board. OpenAI is sitting on GPT-4o and charging premium rates. If Anthropic's Sonnet 5 undercuts them on cost while matching accuracy, customers will switch. That forces OpenAI to either lower prices or improve their model. Either way, enterprise AI gets cheaper. Third, it's a reminder that optimizing for real-world problems, messy documents, imperfect data, production constraints, matters more than chasing benchmark scores. Sonnet 5 was built by listening to customers, not by making headlines. That's how you win in enterprise. Finally, it signals that the AI model wars are shifting from raw capability to practical efficiency. The era of bigger models being obviously better is over. The winners now are the ones who figure out how to do more with less. Anthropic might have just found that path. So should you switch to Sonnet 5 right now? If you're an enterprise customer using Claude, the answer is probably yes. Anthropic made Sonnet 5 backward compatible. It takes the same API calls as Sonnet 4.5, just returns better results. No code changes, no retraining, no testing. You literally flip a switch in your configuration and start using it. Some teams might want to run it in parallel first, processing the same documents through both models, comparing results, making sure the new one doesn't break anything. That's smart. But for most workloads, you can upgrade immediately and pocket the savings. If you're using GPT-4o or another competitor's model, the calculus is different. You'd need to migrate, new API keys, retesting, possibly tweaking your prompts. That's work. But the math might be worth it. Take your current spending, assume a 40% reduction with Sonnet 5, and calculate the payback period on migration. For many companies, it's weeks or months. If you're still using older models like GPT-4 or Llama 2, you should absolutely test Sonnet 5. The quality jump is noticeable. The speed jump is dramatic. The cost difference is life-changing. The practical path forward is simple. Run a small batch of your real work through Sonnet 5, compare results to your current system, and let the data decide. Most enterprises switch after seeing the first results. Here's what matters about Claude Sonnet 5. It's not about flashy new features or impressive benchmark numbers. It's about the unglamorous work that actually costs money. It's about enterprises waking up and realizing they can do the same work for less. that compounds. In a year, if Sonnet 5 lives up to the hype, thousands of companies will have freed up millions of dollars that were going to IPI bills. That capital gets reinvested into hiring more engineers, building more products, taking bigger risks. That's how tools change markets. Sonnet 5 might seem like a boring incremental improvement to people watching AI from the outside, but for the CTOs and finance teams running the numbers, it's the model they've been waiting for. Efficient, reliable, cheaper. The three things that matter in enterprise. Anthropic has spent years building trust. Sonnet 5 is the moment that trust pays off. They're not selling you a dream. They are selling you a concrete reduction in your bill. That's rare in AI. If you're running Claude in production, try Sonnet 5 this week and watch your costs drop. If you're using a competitor, run the test. The results will speak for themselves. Follow for daily AI news that actually matters.